everybody, this is Deb with Truthification Chronicles, and today we're going to talk about this guy right here. This is Admiral Mike Rogers. He is quite a patriot, and if you don't know who he is, well, you're going to find a little bit out about him today. First of all, Mike Rogers was the head of the NSA until the beginning of June of this year when he retired, and so he has had a lot to do with things coming out to the surface. His role is so important in this, and it's something you really have to understand, because this man and his integrity is going to cause a ripple of justice to go through our entire government. So keep this man in your prayers, first of all, and thank God for him, because this guy started it all. Why? Because he was the director of the NSA, and the NSA had some important duties going on. First of all, the NSA, if you don't know, has to do with outside intelligence, outside the United States. What they do, they can surveil people within the United States, but it has to be in connection with some outside force possibly trying to attack us inside the United States. And so their surveillance is not on American citizens, their surveillance is on foreigners. So because of that, an interesting thing happened, and Mike Rogers spotted it. He's the person kind of kicked all this off, and that's a very good thing. Because of this man, we are going to see some incredible things happen in the next few months. It's going to be exciting. So I wanted to share this article with you. This is from the American Free Press, and it's called Unsealed Fisa Court Order Reveals Warrantless Surveillance by Obama Administration in 2016. Now this came out in May 25th, 2017. So this has been out there for a while, but people just don't know about it. And I have to be honest, the document I'm going to show you, I didn't know existed until today. So, these things just come out of the woodwork. I knew what Admiral Rogers was doing, but I didn't know there was this document to back it up. So, let's go with it. Okay. As you go down here in this article, I'm not going to read all of it to you, but while Trump's Justice Department had stepped in to slightly limit the surveillance reach of U.S. intelligence agencies, we may have a much bigger problem than most Americans realize when it comes to the guidelines intended to safeguard our Fourth Amendment rights. And that means no unreasonable search and seizure, and you have to have a warrant, okay, for them to come in and seize things or to search. So, an unsealed April 26 court ruling, now this would be April 26th of 2017, from the Foreign Intelligence Surveillance Act Court, that's the FISA court, found that the Obama administration had violated the NSA's minimization procedures involving queries of data acquired under Section 702 using U.S. person identifiers. The full scope of non-compliant querying practices had not been previously disclosed to the court. Under the FISA, the court is supposed to determine whether the minimization procedures, those that are supposed to seal the identities of U.S. persons swept up in foreign surveillance, comply with the Fourth Amendment protections against unreasonable searches and seizures. An example of those rules falls under USSID 18, which governs the collection, retention, and then dissemination of foreign intelligence gathered to and from U.S. persons. Those rules are promulgated by the Attorney General under 50 U.S.C. 1801 H2, which provides that they include procedures that require that non-publicly available information, which is not foreign intelligence information as defined in subsection E1, don't you love all the legal speak, shall not be disseminated in a manner that identifies any United States person without such person's consent, unless each person's identity is necessary to understand foreign intelligence information or assess its importance. Now remember, the NSA deals with foreign intelligence information, so that is their jurisdiction, and that's why they have specific procedures to keep the identity of Americans sealed. They're not supposed to be able to access who the American is except in very specific circumstances. Under USSID 18, to have kept the communications would have required either a sign-off from the Attorney General if he or she believes that the contents indicate a threat of death or seriously bodily harm to any person, under Section 5.4a, or the Director of the National Security Agency, who was at this time and until June of this year, Admiral Mike Rogers. Under 5.4.d, if he or she determines the communications contain significant foreign intelligence or evidence of a crime or threat of death or seriously bodily harm to any person. Okay, so see, one of those two people had to sign off, either the Attorney General or Mike Rogers. So he knew he wasn't signing off on these. What was going on? Great guy, I tell you, this Mike Rogers. I wish I could meet him someday. For these U.S. persons to have been included in a report for dissemination could only have occurred if, under Section 7.2c, the appropriate approval authority determined the identity of the U.S. person is necessary to understand foreign intelligence information or assess its importance, or the information is evidence that the individual may be involved in a crime that has been, is being, or is about to be committed, provided that the dissemination is for law enforcement purposes. Okay, this was not what was happening, though. What the FISA court is saying, that bug out, by the way, is just an ad, so you can ignore that. What the FISA court is saying in its April 26 ruling is that these bare minimal rules, which do not even require a warrant to unmask a U.S. person, were not being followed. Since all the agents must show is that the information is relevant to foreign intelligence matters, that is saying something. The only explanation is that, in those cases, the searches had no bearing on foreign intelligence gathering. According to reporting by John Solomon and Sarah Carter of Circa.com, more than 5%, or 1 out of every 20 searches seeking upstream internet data on Americans inside the NSA's so-called Section 702 database, violated the standards Obama and his intelligence chiefs vowed to follow in 2011, according to one classified internal report reviewed by Circa. 1 out of 20. I mean, that's really huge. Circa could not ascertain how many such inappropriate searches had occurred as the information was classified, but it does provide a window into how the FISA court responds to these instances, even when there are violations. The federal government, under Attorney General Jeff Sessions, has since applied to the FISA court to change those minimization rules on March 30th, which the court granted on March 26th. 2 days later, on April 28th, the National Security Agency issued a statement that it will no longer collect certain internet communications that merely mention a foreign intelligence target. I'm sure that Admiral Mike Rogers was working with Jeff Sessions to put this together and put more reins on things so it could not be abused again. So it goes on and talks about this. Now, if you're not real savvy about how things work with our government, well, a good thing is we not only have the document, and I'm going to put this document down below because it is quite long. It's about 99 pages, and there is a lot in it, and it is kind of legal speak, so I'll leave that below for those of you who enjoy reading such things. But I want to give you this video link. I'll put it up in an information card up in the upper right corner, and you can click on it from there. But this is a speech that Dan Bongino gave on the Restoration Weekend, which was just recently, like a couple weekends ago, and it was in Palm Beach, Florida. Now, Dan really has been kind of at the forefront of this. If you listen to his podcasts, he has some really excellent stuff that he's been coming out with. And if you follow Q, you'll know that a lot of the stuff he says really does follow Q, but I don't know that he's a Q follower. He may be a closet one, but he's definitely not, obviously. And he doesn't see things quite the same way, because at the end of this, his conclusion is that justice will never come for people like Hillary Clinton and Barack Obama. However, if you're a Q follower, you know that's not true. Justice is coming, and there are other reasons why we could support that view. Because of the executive orders and other things that have been set up, it is happening. But it's just going to take a little while. I don't think we're going to see those major players arrested until after the 1st of January, because that's when the executive order dealing with the upgraded courts martial manual takes effect. So it's not until that takes effect that we'll be able to start seeing some things happen. But That will happen. But this right here is about 36 minutes, it says here. And he gives you a very good, concise overview of everything. And he will refer to this document that I told you about, this one right here. Okay, and he talks especially about page 80, but it really does you no good to read page 80 until you've read a lot of the other. And it is, like I said, it is official legal speak kind of thing, so you do have to kind of read it, and things are blocked out. There are things that are redacted, but most of it is here, and make sure that you read these notes down here at the bottom, okay? Because they have extensive notes that give the supporting evidence for why they came to that conclusion or additional information on that conclusion. This is a great video to share with your friends. Whether you believe in Q or not, Dan lays it all out, and like I said, he's not a Q follower as far as I know. However, he's made some mentions that kind of make me wonder, but he definitely denies it. If you ask him in public, he would deny it. So he's come to this conclusion on his own. And if you don't know about Dan Bongino, he used to be a Secret Service agent. He's worked in law enforcement for a very long time. And so he has some insights that a lot of people don't have. He knows how the inner workings of that part work. And so he's able to give insights into what was going on with the FBI. And his big thing is he wants to know what paragraph 1 is. Paragraph 1 is when you're writing a report at the end of an operation. You have to start out with how it all began. And he said he can't find the paragraph 1. He's not been able to really nail that down. So where it started, he's not really sure. He's got some ideas, but he's not sure. And this is a very condensed version. If you want a fuller version, go listen to his podcast. He has a YouTube channel, The Dan Bongino Show. I'll put the link down below. Please make sure that you catch up with what he's saying, because long ago he was putting pieces together that lots of us weren't seeing yet. And most of what he's saying he has documented through the mainstream media. I mean, he's found articles from them that support what he's saying. He has a book out right now that I really want to get. I'm hoping that's for my Christmas list. So I hope I can get that one. But you need to listen to what he has to say here. Again, it's very condensed. It's very short, but it is a good overview. And then when you listen to his podcast, you'll have a better understanding of what's going on. And if you can afford the book, I would recommend the book, because I think he really has everything put down in more of a logical format, so that it's kind of like a police file. So if you're into that kind of thing, I recommend his stuff. I really have enjoyed listening to him and hearing the insights that he has that you can't really get from somebody who's not been involved in the Secret Service or law enforcement. So a very good talk. I recommend it. Again, go listen to it. Take the link here. I'd love to hear your comments down below. And make sure that you check your subscriptions, by the way, because YouTube has been doing some funny things with subscriptions, and sometimes it unsubscribes people without them knowing it, or it takes the notification bell off. So just make sure that you click that subscribe and the notification, and that way you'll be notified whenever my videos come out, because I have to tell you, I don't put them out necessarily on a regular basis. I'm trying to be more regular, but I have some health issues I have to deal with, and so I can't always put them out when I want to get them out. So I hope you'll click that little bell icon, so when they do come out, you'll get a chance to see them. And don't forget to go to my Patreon page, because my Patreon page is kind of my research blog right now. So you can find lots of links there to things that I come up with while I'm doing my research, but I just don't have enough to make a video, or it's something I'll make a video on later on. I just put everything there that I can. So go to my Patreon page. Even if you're not subscribed, even if you're not a patron, that's okay. You can still see almost everything I post. Check it regularly and you'll see a lot more information there. It's just a lot more than I can share on my channel. So thanks for stopping by, and I'll see you later.